All right, and we are live.
Thank you, baby. Hi.
Over here.
Just in case. I don't know. It says recommended headphones, but I'll just have them here in case I need them.
Yeah, don't worry about it. If they tell us that it's really bad, then we'll do it there.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
No problem. Hi, everyone. So far, I'm not seeing anybody yet. There we go. I see Summer over here. Hi, Summer. I see Johnny. Hi, Johnny.
Hello. How do I see everybody? Or live comments.
Maybe? There you go.
Yeah. Oh, okay. There we go.
Yeah. Now, if you're watching through StreamYard, though, there is a little bit of a delay, just so you know. So I've got both of them on now, so I can actually, I mean, it's not that bad of a delay. But.
Okay.
Hi, Cindy.
Cool. I'll pull it up.
And then just make sure that you mute it.
Mute the StreamYard or the...
No. The actual video or the live on YouTube.
That's so awkward. I'm sorry.
So Lit Mobile just...
Oh my God.
People know. It's so good. I love the bow in your hair. It looks really cute.
I have to do something with it. I've had it up all day because I literally just got off the floor nursing.
You have beautiful hair. I love it. What are you drinking?
Oh, it's cranberry juice, or I'm sorry, pomegranate juice and squirt.
Oh, sounds good.
Yeah.
So a busy day for you, huh?
Oh my gosh, yeah. It's very busy. Just my last day.
Oh, and then you have some days off?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Just wait. Oh, okay. Now I'm starting to see. Hi, Carmen.
Hello.
All right. So we'll just get started if you're ready.
Yeah.
All right. So why Hound Dog Hollow? And I know you've already kind of talked about this before on your channel, but for anybody who wants to know.
Yeah, Hound Dog Hollow is the name of my house. So that's.
Are you like on a homestead?
I don't know if I like to call it that. Probably it's 3 acres, and we live rural. And I have lots and lots of animals.
I know you do. I love it.
I don't know if I would say homestead.
But that's what you name your like home and land and all that is Hound Dog Hollow.
Yeah, this property is Hound Dog Hollow.
How many hound dogs do you have?
I have 3 at the moment.
Oh.
Yeah. There we go. I was trying to light this candle and it's just like not doing it.
So how would you label your spiritual path if you had to label it?
I guess if I had to label it, I would say eclectic witch or eclectic pagan witch.
Well, that was short. You don't want to elaborate on it at all?
I know. I'm sorry. Well, the main thing is eclectic because I like to learn about as many different religions and parts of religions to kind of piece it all together. So definitely the main part is eclectic, but I feel like a witch, but not a Wiccan at all. So for a while it was just eclectic, but then the more you learn about how you don't have to be Wiccan to be a witch, and that those 2 things are separate entities, it's easier to reclaim your title.
Yeah. How long have you been practicing?
I knew for sure I was not a Christian at like 14. And before then, I was super interested in like tarot and dreams and magic and all sorts of pantheons, mythology. I was always into that kind of stuff. And then at one point, somebody we went to church with told me that I was going to go to hell if I kept reading my horoscope. And I was like, if God is so petty, he would punish a 14-year-old child to hell for that. Then,
yeah, peace out, right?
Yeah. And then just magic and witchcraft really attracted me a lot. So around then.
All right, cool. And well, you just kind of answered the next question too. Were you raised in the path or did you veer off? You were raised Christian?
Yeah, we veered off, yeah. But I would say, you know, yes, we were Christian, but my mom and my family is like very magical that's why I kind of feel like magic is everybody's birthright. Magic and superstition and dream and divination, all of these things belong to all people, and you do them regardless of what religion you do. Witchcraft and magic are things that you do, and everybody does them, regardless of if we call it that or not. So I will say I grew up in like believing in magic, all of us, and superstition and ghosts and spirits and, you know, that kind of thing, but we were Christians.
That's kind of like us. I mean, if you watch the interview that I did with my sister, she had made mention that, I mean, a lot of the things that were like early childhood things that we believed, and we were raised Christian, like God was an alien. That came from my mom. So, especially Christians, right?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So do you feel supported by your family?
Yes. Especially my immediate family in the house, like my husband and son are just let me run, and they support me. And probably enable me to go overboard. And even my mom watches all of my lives and all of my content on my channel, and so do my sisters. So yeah, super supportive. My in-laws watch my lives, and
that's fabulous.
Yeah. So I'm pretty lucky.
I practically beg my family to watch. They're just like, turn around, you know.
My husband likes to count my ums and be like, you say too many ums. And I'm like, wow.
That's funny. I say a lot too. Yeah, I can't help it. I use that term in order to give me time to think about what I'm trying to say.
Or I think that it's all in there. It's just that we don't normally talk about this to people out loud in our everyday lives.
Yeah. So
it's not like we get into the patterns of normal speech. This is something that we only talk about with our little niche. So I feel like you don't get that practice.
Summer said, enablers rock, LOL, at least healthy enabling.
Yeah, they bring me rocks and stones and interesting things that they find. My husband brought home a squirrel yesterday, so there's that.
Brought home a squirrel?
It came to him.
Wow. Okay, this is not on the questionnaire, but how many animals do you guys have there?
Let me see. I'm in this room with me right now is a sulcata tortoise, 11 chicks, about a dozen eggs in the incubator, a whole bunch of fish and snails in here. Then there's 2 red bourbon turkey toms in the backyard, 8 or 9 geese, 8 ducks, and I don't know, probably a dozen chickens, including 5 of them roosters. And then 16 more chicks at my mother-in-law's house that she's raising for us, and a squirrel, and a cat, and 3 hound dogs.
It was making me think of what is that Pet Detective? Ace Ventura. It's like, come to me.
Oh my gosh. You know, we watched that for the first time with my son the other day, and the only thing he got from that was the talking butt. And so he does it all the time now. I'm like, oh my God, please stop. That's the worst part of the movie.
That is hilarious. That is kind of nasty, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. That's the only part he got.
He's 5, so that was the most hilarious part.
I know, that's really cute. Do you feel a stronger connection to a certain element?
I thought a lot about this one, and I always get wishy-washy because I'm like, oh, I love them all, but I think probably water. Just because I feel deeply connected to the ocean. I love bodies of water. If we're going to do a trip, it's probably to a water place. Probably my most used magic is ritual bathing, but even then, when you have plant magic, you water it as a devotion, right? As care.
Yeah.
And you water your animals, and you just use water a lot. So I'm going to say water.
Okay. All right. Oh, and I wanted to say hi to Liberius.
Hi, Liberius.
So, do you have a favorite season of the year?
Yes, but it's changing. So, yes, fall. Fall is my favorite. Hands down, has been my favorite since I was young. I love fall. I love it. I love it. I love it. But then spring is really closing the gap. I really love spring too, and more as I get older, because it's just so much promise and so much new life and so much new chance. Everything's coming alive, and
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, definitely. You know what I'm finding? I don't know if I'm like crazy in thinking this, but doesn't it seem like we are like a month behind now on all of our seasons?
Yeah, here in the Pacific Northwest, they saying we're a month ahead. It's going to be 90 degrees next week.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's almost June.
I know, that's true. But we don't usually get that bad so quickly. I don't know. I think it depends on the pockets of the country. So some are like behind, colder than usual, and some are warmer. But I keep a journal page of the temperatures, and we are hotter in my area than normal, except for we had the cold. But in Oregon, we say we have 12 seasons. So we just got through with mud season, and now we're going into second spring.
I gotcha. When I was growing up, there was always the saying, April showers bring May flowers, and May flowers bring the pilgrims, right?
Yeah.
So we had the majority, and we've got more rain coming in May than what we did in April. That's when most of our vegetation, we were still really, really cold. And then, it goes from like 50 degrees, maybe a couple of days of 60 degrees, maybe a couple of like, teasing us with 70-degree weather. And now tomorrow we've got like 80, 84 here in Michigan.
Yeah, I know. I have noticed that our days that are just like in the 70s are getting less every year.
Yeah. And that's like ideal. I love 70-degree weather.
I know. It's so nice.
Maine is a bit behind. Yeah. Michigan, we are behind.
Yeah.
And it seems like we were last year too. But so do you use divination? If so, what types do you use?
I love cards. So I prefer Oracle over Tarot, but I do have a lot of tarot cards. In a pinch, if it's appropriate in a pinch, I will typically do pendulum, but usually with a strand of my hair and my husband's wedding ring. That's been super successful for me. I also, I was going to do a video about this, but I do music divination. And so I'll make a playlist with songs that called me, and then I'll put it on shuffle, and how it plays back tells me,
that's pretty cool.
an answer. I've done that since I was like a teen. So I like that too.
That's pretty cool. What kind of music do you put on?
All kinds. So everything from Stevie Nicks to rock and roll, or the last one I had was Coheed and Cambria, the Foo Fighters, Stevie Nicks, Sade, Johnny Cash. Sometimes Taylor Swift.
You're eclectic in your music too.
Yeah.
I love that. But the season's at least a month behind lately, even here in the Philippines.
Oh.
They should already bring the usual storms and monsoons, but the heat feels like it's still April. Wow.
Maybe we're just lucky in Oregon. I don't know.
We had a dam. Well, we had 2 dams break in a part of Michigan a few days ago. Flooded like a good portion of the town. 40,000 people.
Oh my gosh!
Unbelievable from all the raining, and now we got more coming.
That's awful.
I know that. So, do you know what your tarot birth cards are?
Yes, the Hierophant and Temperance.
Ooh, okay. So that leads me into your life path 5 then.
Yes.
And what do you think about that?
You know, it's a journey, I think, because at first I was like not very thinking that the Hierophant was a good match for me. But I think I watched a video by Robin. I can't remember what her channel, The Alchemical Path. She did one about the Hierophant, and I was like, oh, the Hierophant's my birth card. And she pointed out some like unusual things about them, like leadership, tradition, and other things. I guess that's not unusual. That's pretty standard, right? And I started thinking about it as like, how would that apply to me? And I do think I'm a pretty, like, I find myself in a lot of leadership positions. I don't know if I'm a traditional person very much, but I think in some ways I am. I think I just want to make my own traditions and then move forward with those. But I don't know if that's really appropriate. Temperance, I have no idea. I am not a temperate person, but I think maybe that's like where I should be heading.
See, I see both of those in you. I definitely see the Hierophant, because on your channel, even though you don't seem like a very authoritative kind of person to me. You're sweet, but yet you're knowledgeable and you share what you know. So you are like a teacher for many. So I feel like the Hierophant is very appropriate. And
I do identify with that, yeah.
And as far as Temperance goes, I mean, you would know better than anybody else, but I mean, it's like you try to do, I don't know how you do it. You work full time.
Yeah.
You got a 5-year-old child. You do look at how many animals that you help take care of. And you have a channel and you're going to school. There's got to be some kind of balancing act that you got going on in order to be able to keep up with all that. Is just what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, number one, I have a really, really good partner. My husband's the best. He's wonderful. And he picks up all the slack and he does all the not fun parts. Except for obviously working's not that fun and school's not always fun, but he does a lot of the stuff so that I can do what I need to do. So I'm super blessed that way. I mean, yes, as far as that kind of balance, yes, but I sometimes feel like I'm, in a lot of ways, I'm not a person who really does things in moderation, but I do feel like I am good at balancing a lot of things at once. I'm good at multitasking a lot of things at once. And I'm a primary care nurse. I work at a low-income clinic. And so I teach all day long.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is pretty damn honorable, I'd say.
Yeah. I love it.
I wanted to say hi to B. And came in. Hi, Vicky. Hi, Misty. Hi, Jen. Did I miss anybody else? I don't think so. Okay.
Oh, great. I was like, I think I'm missing questions, but I got it.
So what is your significator card in the tarot? Do you know?
I don't usually use one, but if I were to use one, it would be the Queen of Wands.
I missed it completely because I'm like terrible with looking at my list. But what is your sun sign, honey?
I'm a Leo.
You're a Leo. Okay.
Yeah.
And Leo, is that a fire sign?
Fire, yeah.
Fire sign. Okay. All right.
But I totally identify with her, like bossy, like telling people like what to do, very like strong woman vibe, but not the like cold. I mean, I get a really cold woman vibe from the Queen of Swords. like strong but like aloof, whereas I get a really like vibrant Scarlet O'Hara, larger than life kind of vibe from Queen of Wands. Except for Scarlet O'Hara's really not at the top of her game. She had a lot of gumption, but not so much sense.
Yeah. She wasn't very practical, right?
No.
She was spoiled.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. I was trying to make sure I was catching up on everything.
No
So,
worries.
what
No,
is
no.
your
I'm sorry, what?
what is your, no problem. I remember those days, trust me. What is your favorite current tarot deck?
My favorite current tarot deck. I really love. I have the Tarot Musha, I think it is how it's saying. It's really beautiful. I like that one a lot. But I do see the Hierophant in me. I'm very like about what I started with, and so I still love the Lover's Path more than anything. If I'm gonna do a reading where I absolutely need the truth and nothing but the truth and no sugarcoating, just tell me what it is, I'm gonna go to that deck because it never lies. It hurts my feelings, but it never lies.
Okay, gotcha. What is your current favorite tarot card in the deck? Do you have one?
I don't know. And I have been thinking about that a lot because one of the things that I've been doing lately is lining up all of my tarot decks and looking at the way that the different cards are expressed. And I guess I would say in that respect right now, I'm really looking at the Hierophant because I want a deck where it has a really like a Hierophant that I kind of like identify with and doesn't look like kind of a creepy pedophile. So I'm
Yeah.
I'm looking for that. My favorite so far is Gandalf, but I don't like the other cards in it. So I was wondering if I could just get a Gandalf and just put it in there. A different deck.
Do you have the Lightseers Tarot?
I want it. I do want it. I like that one too.
That is by far my favorite Hierophant. Have you seen the Hierophant from that one?
I think it's a cool dude, like in lotus pose.
Yes. And
Yeah,
he's got the stairway behind him. And there's like some sacred geometry also at work. I want you to be the very last card. Yeah, here we go. That is one cool.
Oh, yeah. I like that. I do like that a lot.
And the Everyday Witch. She's like a yoga teacher.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I think the Good Tarot has a nice one too.
I don't remember what the Good Tarot is. I gave that to my niece.
Yeah, I've only seen it a couple times. Who was it? I want to say maybe Pat had it. He was doing his daily draws with it for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that one looked pretty cool. I've ordered a tarot deck that's coming. It's been on back. I've ordered it in like April. It's been on back order this whole time because of coronavirus. And so hopefully it'll come. It's the Threads of Fate Weaver Tarot.
Very cool.
So I'm really interested in what it's going to look like. I don't know yet. I know what the deck looks like, but I don't really remember individual cards.
I gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be so exciting. And I've been waiting on a couple actually. One was Kickstarter.
What? I'm talking to Rachele. Can I do this? My husband came and got him. I'm sorry. Okay.
He just got home. He just wants to hang with mom for a while. It's hard.
No. Yes, I am so excited when I get a new one. Oh, and I know the Nightmare Before Christmas Tarot is coming out too.
You can come talk for a minute if you want him to.
I think my husband's gonna spank him if he keeps coming in here.
Oh, okay.
I can hear my husband screaming. That's why I'm like, don't do it. Just go to dad.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you said he's a Capricorn, right?
Oh yeah.
So he's very tenacious, right?
He's a little goat for sure. And then his rising is Leo and his moon sign is Aries. So he's
Whoa.
stubborn and audacious about it.
Oh my goodness. That is a powerful combination there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been missing natural vitamin E.
Yeah.
Scarlett was practical. She planted a garden. Yeah, right. After she was like destitute and there was nothing left and she wanted to eat, you know.
Yeah. I think she was definitely a survivor in that respect.
Yeah. I agree. But she didn't start off that way. But isn't that life? Isn't that life?
Yeah.
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 I loved her. I really did.
I do. I still do.
I watched that.
15-year-olds suck in general. No offense to any 15-year-olds out there, but I mean, I have to keep that in mind. She is just a teenager when we meet her, and
yeah. Although it doesn't seem like she's a teenager.
I know, but yeah, definitely. I don't know. They always cast older people as young teenagers. Like even in Greece, they're all like in their 20s. They are not teens.
You remember 90210 that came out?
Oh Lord.
The one, Andrea. I think she was like in her 30s.
Yeah.
When they casted her as a teenager.
And Clueless too. Yeah.
Jeez. Oh, you mean vitamin D? Yeah.
From the sun. Definitely
need some vitamin D. So, what decks are you currently working with? Is it the Muha that you're currently working with?
I work mostly with Oracle decks, to be honest, but I do. What's on my nightstand? I'm trying to imagine it. I know that the Muha's on my nightstand right now, or on my little desk area. If I'm gonna really work with one, though, it's the Lover's Path. It really is, as far as tarot goes. But I'm trying to branch out, and I'm trying to explore and get to know different cards by looking at their different facets and different decks. But really, like, I'm a creature of habit, so that's what I always go back to. As far as Oracle decks, though, my favorite still probably Spirit de la Lune. And
that's the round deck, the moon one, right?
The round moon cards, yeah.
Yeah.
And I use a lot of those regularly. I use that one, The Queen of the Moon by Stacey DeMarco, the Moonology I just got. I forget who makes that. I forgot her name. And then the Goddess Guidance and the Goddess Oracle, the Divine Feminine, the Spirit Animal. I use those a lot. Yeah.
I got it after your live.
Oh, I love it. It's a good deck. I like it a lot.
I do too. And I was on the fence for a long time. And after watching your live, you finally pushed me over the edge. Oh. You are an enabler. I'm just saying.
I know. I'm sorry. But it's for your spiritual growth, so I don't feel guilty.
I just joke.
I love to compare, though. That's one of my favorite things about both Oracle and Tarot, because, like, religiously, spiritually, and I guess my religion, I like to look at all the different faces of this representation of an idea. So for me, the divine, every god is just a different face of the masculine polarity of the divine, right? And so I like to look at all these different gods, and it's just like different expressions, just like we wear all these different masks and different roles all the time. And I feel like divine is the same way. So I'm a nurse, I'm a mom, I'm a YouTuber, I'm a woman, I'm a, Leo, I'm all these things, but all at the same time. But I present differently depending on the situation. I feel a lot like divine is like that. And so when I look at Oracle decks or tarot decks, and I have 8 different decks, and all the Hierophants look different, but they're the same Hierophant. They're just like a slightly different representation of the same thing. And it really challenges my thinking, because it's then like, how is it similar? How are they all the same? Like, what is the actual truth? The actual archetypical message here? And then how are they different? So what would be different expressions of that same energy?
I don't think there is one truth.
I know.
A lot of different truths.
Yeah.
So it's all based on
creates reality. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? I commented, or I read one of Shauna's comments, and I didn't say hi. Hi, Shauna. I'm sorry.
Hi,
Did I miss anybody else?
I don't have the Enchanted Forest deck.
That is really, really pretty. The Enchanted. I don't have it, but it's really pretty.
I feel like I've seen it and it was really beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, it was really popular. Very, very green.
Yeah.
Llewellyn, I believe.
Yeah.
Your typical Llewellyn box. So would you consider yourself a collector of decks? And this does not have to be just tarot decks. I mean, decks in general. And if so, how many do you have?
Yes and yes. Yes. I feel like everything. I'm a magpie. That's one thing all of us in this house have in common. We like something and we collect as many of that thing as possible. I think I'm better because I have about 8 tarot decks and maybe 30 oracles. But then again, all the animals. And my husband has his things that he collects, and my son has got like 1,000 little Hot Wheel cards all over the dang place. So yes, I collect things. I have about 8 tarot decks and at least 30 oracle decks, which isn't very many compared to some people, but
yeah,
it's more than I can comfortably work with. And I've been thinking about letting some of the ones I don't really like go.
You know, I hate it when I hear people say that, honestly, because we grow and we change, and what we might use today, we might set aside and find something else that helps us to bring, because there's like a reason why you felt that you wanted to purchase that at the time that you purchased it.
Yeah.
You know,
and that's totally true. I feel that way about every deck I've purchased, but I get a lot of subscription boxes, and sometimes some come to me that I'm like, what is this? So but then I'm trying to think of like I've been doing deck reviews and I'm like, oh, maybe I could use it in this context, or maybe, it could add some depth to this reading, or maybe like I try to think of something I can do with it, but some of them I'm just like, I don't like any of this.
Yeah. When you get something from like another source that you didn't pick out, then you really didn't. It wasn't like calling you when you purchased it. Yeah. So I can see that. And I have purchased decks that I just totally was like, no, this is not what I thought it was. I got it, and now I'm just not happy with it, so I'm going to pass it along. Or if I think somebody's really going to benefit more than what I would from it,
Yeah, for sure. I can see that.
But in general, I think I don't think there's anything wrong with being a collector. I'm a proud collector.
I agree. I like collecting.
Yeah.
And I do like the exercises that I talked about. I like that a lot.
Yeah. So, has your reading style changed over time from the time that you began?
Yeah, a lot. When I first got my decks, oh God, it's so terrible. I made some stupid, like I would ask the same, first of all, I would always ask about boys. And I would ask the same question over and over and over again. And my tarot cards would be like, what don't you understand about what I'm trying to say to you? Like, I don't know how to be any more clear. Tower card, tower card, tower card. Okay. It's just like, no. So I feel like these days, whatever it is that I get. And that's the message, and I got to make do with it. And so I feel like that's a much healthier thing, because even negative cards don't have to be negative. They could just be information. Or they could be just my thoughts. I don't know. And so I don't ask the same question more than once ever. And I try to not cheat. I feel like in the beginning I would cheat myself and just be like, oh, let's draw another card and see what it says. And we'll draw. Because when it comes down to it, the way that I see tarot now as a real adult, or as more of a grown, I feel like a more mature witch, I guess, more mature in my divination, is that it's a tool for universe to send messages to me, or for me to collect messages that are already in my subconscious that I just need to pull forward. So I feel like that's how the divination works with just about anything. there's all the messages are always coming at you because we're taking in like a billion pieces of information in a day, and your brain's just kind of picking through what you need at that moment, right? Everything else is stored somewhere in here, and can you call it forward? Can you tease it out? Can you just pull it to somewhere where you can use it? And that's how I use it now, versus like, tell me what I want to hear. Tell me what I want to hear.
Yeah, exactly. Tell me like what I need to hear. Yeah, what I need to know. But see, that's me. I'm like, what knowledge is going to benefit me right now? Exactly. Whether that be good or bad, I need that knowledge. I need to hear the truth.
I like that question. I also don't ask about specific people very much anymore. Very rarely. I'll usually say, what do I need to know about this situation? Or like what I like to do it at Sabbats and SBATs, saying like, okay, this is my intention. What message do you have for me? What do I need to know to achieve this? Like, what should I consider? Or I just try to keep more general things, more broad general things. So that way I'm not hyper focused on a message that I'm wanting to get and miss out on the message that I need to get.
Yeah, that makes sense. So do you have any daily rituals that you do?
Yes. Okay, so I always write in my book of shadows every day. I have it here because I have some notes. Ooh, what did I knock down? Oh, okay. So every day I write down where the planets are and the moon, sun, moon, planets. I try to read and journal at least one article every day. I try to light the ofrenda and maintain it every day. I know it's not really, I mean, it is magical. I believe that almost everything we do can be magical if you put your mind right. But I try to look in my husband and son's eyes and tell them that I love them every day. Oh, write down my dreams. I feel like I recently really thought about this, and then I completely it's leaving my brain. I'm sorry. Oh, I try to look around my property and pull in what's happening at any given time to kind of really appreciate the turning of the wheel is really something that I try to work on a daily, because every day I come home, something's different.
Yeah.
I think that's probably it. I do other stuff, but I think those are the most regular things that I do.
Okay. Hi, Thomas. Proud herb and tarot collector here too. You know?
Yeah.
Divine goddess. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So yeah, the next question was going to be, do you remember your dreams?
I try to. It's challenging sometimes. I was way better when I was younger, because I didn't have to wake up at such a specific time as I do now. And so whereas I had more time when I was younger to kind of luxuriate and ease out of sleep and write my dreams down, sometimes if I wake up too quickly and I have to get moving right away, it's gone. Unless it was especially important and it sticks with me. And a lot of them do. I remember at 80% of my dreams, but I used to remember a lot more and more detail. So one of the first things that you forget when you wake up is words that were said in your dreams. So if you're going to write down your dreams, write down the words first, because that's the first thing that'll go. And then I try to put down as much of the themes and important things that I know that I'm looking for. So for example, if the dream takes place in light or daylight, I know that that's a conscious issue that I'm working through. Whereas if it's dark, it's a subconscious issue that I'm working through. If there is anything that I've loved or died or my beloved dead, those are particularly important. So I try especially to remember the details about what they were doing, how they were interacting with me and others, and if they spoke or what was the message. I try to remember, what am I doing? The feeling stays with you. I feel like whether or not you can remember the content, if you had a bad dream or not. You just know. That part stays. So you don't have to really worry about the feeling. But the details, what did you hear? what did you see, who was there, how were they, what did they look like, what were they wearing, how did it go, and then the feeling is the last thing you should focus on, because that will stick with you.
That's pretty cool. I just recently started remembering my dreams again. When this whole coronavirus stuff, COVID started, I couldn't remember my dreams. I mean, I was not, and I mean, there are times when I'll like remember 3 dreams in a night just because of waking up several times to go to the bathroom, you know, and that's when I remember. So, but I agree. If I don't write it down, like usually right away, especially the little details.
Yes.
Not the feeling. Like you're right. That I always feel it. But if I don't write down the little details, that's what I forget completely. I'll go back through my dream book and go, oh my gosh, I forgot about that. I mean,
yes, I like that too. And what you should also do, I mean, you should, if you want to, what I like to do, because I keep my journals for a long time, is especially if it's a dream of something that's happened before, or it's a habitual dream that I have, I like to especially mark those, because they are cyclical things that are going on in your life. So for a while there, not for a while, even to this day, if I have dreams of like big giant waves or tsunamis, I would have dreams of big giant waves, and like they were always impending, but they would never like hurt me or do damage. They were just like something that I was afraid of, something that was coming. And those were always dreams that I had in times of like stress or emotional upheaval, and the big waves were like these deep currents of emotion building up inside of me. So that's a habitual dream that I would have. And when I was younger, I used to have bad dreams where like something bad would happen, and I would try to get help or do something, and my voice wouldn't work. Oh. So like, I really like to keep track of habituals, repetitive dreams, because they have to do with repetitive things that you're doing in your life. And if you can fix the thing that you're doing in your life, then the dream will change.
Very true. I remember I used to go across the bridge every single day, where I was going back and forth to work, whatever, right? And I would be in fear every time I went over the damn bridge, because I watched the Mothman prophecies. And I remember the whole bridge collapsing, right? So for a while, I was like, oh my gosh, I really don't, especially getting stuck on the bridge, you know, at the light. I hated that. So I remember having a dream that I actually like got into an accident and went over the bridge, but this was a really big bridge, really tall. And in my dream, I never actually, I like went over and landed on clouds and bounced back up.
I've had those kind of dreams where you fall off the bridge, but you don't die.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I was okay after that. I think it's like a way for us to work through our stuff sometimes.
It is. And that's what science says. I mean, psychology says that your dreams are just you dissecting what happened in your everyday life, but also it takes things into long-term memory from short-term memory. And also it helps you process like all the little traumas that you go through in a day, all the information you've gathered, all the knowledge you've learned. It all has to be processed. It's your body, your brain downloading.
Exactly. So what is your favorite holiday or Sabbath?
I know this one's hard. Halloween, always, and Halloween, I do mean Halloween. I wrap in Samhain and Dia de Muertos. So it's like a long, protracted celebration. Like we have an altar up. Like the ofrenda's always up now, but we have an altar up for basically a whole month, or sometimes more. So like I like that whole segment. I also love Christmas and Yule, both of those together. Also another long period of just like it all bleeds into each other. But I do like I'm getting more appreciation for Ostara Beltane, and in the summer I like Llamas because it's really close to my birthday.
Oh, okay.
But so yeah, Halloween and then Christmas.
Cool. Those are mine too. Probably a lot of people's because they're just really good holidays, right?
Just really good. And especially with a little kid, everything is so magic. Everything is so cool and so awesome and so exciting and so magic, and it just brings life back into you.
Exactly. It's fun. So, do you work with crystals? And if so, which ones are your favorites?
Yes, I work with crystals. I have a big, beautiful clear quartz like the size of the palm of my hand that I have that I got from a the rock guy up the street for like $5.
Wow.
So
Is it
I love that.
or the one big one?
It's just like one big one. It's great.
Oh,
Yeah. He sometimes has like a dollar bin where you can just grab stuff, and if you know how to clean it, you get really great stuff, but I don't know how to clean it, but I'm trying to learn. I also like protective stones, so I love smoky quartz, I love tourmaline. Um, I love labradorite. I love labradorite. What else do I work with? I'm trying to think. Usually they're on my decks or on my altar. Selenite, of course. Who doesn't have like a million pieces of selenite?
yes.
And rose quartz and amethyst. I love amethyst. Um, I collect crystals.
Yeah.
So lots of them. I like them all. And then my husband and son collect me pretty rocks too. So I have a ton of some that came from my yard and some that came from the forest, and just like any pretty rock that my son or my husband find, they will bring it back to me.
Very cool.
Yeah. Hi, Jocelyn.
Jinx.
I know. I'll mail you a Coke.
Sounds good. Where am I at? So, do you have any special skills or hobbies that you would like to tell us about?
I don't know. This one I just have a because I printed it too. I wrote little notes and I just have a question mark next to it. I don't know. Okay, so a definite skill that I have is memorization. Obviously, you need to memorize a large amount of information to work in medicine, in healthcare, I should say. So I'm really good at memorizing information, recalling information, remembering things, remembering song lyrics, names, phone numbers, which I think is something quite a few people can do. But that's something that I can do. I like to make lists. I know a lot of people like to do that. I don't know. I can't think of anything specific to me. I think that the main thing is that like all these little things together become more than the sum of the parts, I guess. I don't have any really special skills, I don't think.
I think you're a great teacher. I think the way that you show, like when you do your lives and you have like all your books out and you say, this book is good for this. If you're looking for this kind of, this book is good for this. Obviously, you're well read, which I don't know how you have time for that. I really don't.
I make time. I don't feel like I sleep.
You're an amazing lady. I swear.
I do like teaching, and I feel like I feel that I am a better communicator than a lot of people, and I don't necessarily get very stage frighty. Although I do say a lot, apparently.
That's just giving you time to think about it. I mean,
yeah,
words. At least that's for me.
I do feel like you really want to be very careful about how you say things. Number one, because people get offended a lot. And number two, because some topics and ideas are very ephemeral, and it's hard to pinpoint exactly what it is that you're trying to convey. So I feel like that's something that, especially when we talk about spiritual things, that can be easily confused, or maybe you think slightly different than other people. It's really hard to convey exactly how it's different, because we talk so much about abstract ideas that they're really, there's that moment. You just got to think about it.
Yeah. I'm like, I say way too much. I'm like, but you know what? Not always, because I'll like cut them out sometimes, because it might be and as I'm making my videos, because I'm trying to look for the right word or the right way to say it, because exactly like you, I think even though it's not that we're not being our authentic self, but you have to filter yourself sometimes when you're on a public format, you know, and you don't want to misrepresent yourself because the wrong word comes out. So
Yeah,
that's the way I feel. But so there it is. Do you currently have a favorite book or artist?
So my favorite musical artist that has been my favorite since I was like 18 is Coheed and Cambria. And I thought about this one a lot too. My favorite book or artist. So I really love the Averson series by Garth Nix. They're really, really good books.
And what are they about?
Huh?
What are they about?
Magic, but different. She is what's called an Averson Sabriel. So the first book is Sabriel, strong female leads. And her job is to put the dead back to rest. And so bad dead. And her magic is bells. And she has different bells. They each do a different thing. And she has to command them. And it's really, really good. It's really good. And there's charter magic. So, and it talks about and it's basically sigils, all these sigils that represent different things. It's a really good series. I highly recommend it.
I know everybody's saying, are you seeing that?
Yes. Oh God, I'm doing it a lot. I like, of course, Harry Potter. Who doesn't? It's awesome. Yeah. And I love Lois Lowry, who does the Giver series. Have you read the 4 Giver books?
I haven't read them, but I've seen one of the books or one of the movies.
The book is so good. Really, really good. There's 4 of them, and The Giver is the first one. I read that when I was 11, and it was pretty heavy because a grown man kills a baby and throws it in the garbage. And I was like, oh my God, what's happening here? But it's really good. It comes full circle. And I really like the deeper concepts about like reality, society, culture, justice, wrong, right, love. All of those things really come up, but subtle in ways that like I think kids and because it's supposed to be a young adult book, in ways that they can really understand, because it's supposed to be like a really sharp juxtaposition, because this person who's doing it doesn't even realize because of his society that he's doing something wrong. But that this is like the worst possible thing you could do. But it's written in this matter-of-fact way that you're just like, dude. Oh my God.
What's wrong with you? Yeah.
I know. It kind of reminds me of, have you ever read The Lottery?
No.
It's a short story. It's worth the read, but it's just like you get this feeling of terrible dread, and there's nothing happening until the very last page, and you're just like, but this writer is so good at just like making you feel like, oh, something bad is gonna happen. And it's really good. It's like Shirley Malcolm or something, The Lottery. It's a short story. I would highly recommend it. And I read a lot of Stephen King, but I don't say he's my favorite because like he pisses me off sometimes, but I like his books. It's just like sometimes he's really like pessimistic, I guess I would say. I want a happy ending. Life is rough enough. Let's have a happy ending.
I hear you.
Yeah, Shirley Jackson. That's who it is. Shauna, thank you.
Very cool. So do you have a current TV series that you are watching?
I'm watching today. I was watching Disenchantment. It's like kind of like Futurama, but in the past. So that one's pretty cool. We watch Bob's Burgers a lot. I like Bob's Burgers. I love The Mandalorian. I love it. I can't wait for it to come back. I watched The Witcher too. That was kind of a slow burn. I hated everybody until the last episode was pretty good.
I had a hard time with that one, The Witcher.
I do too, because I feel like I definitely get the sense that Yennefer is a man's idea of what a strong woman is. I appreciate her because she is intensely powerful, but I feel like they don't capture her depth very well. They only show you her edges, and then they expect you to form this deep connection with her, and it's kind of challenging. I don't know. Did you watch the whole series?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't honestly say yes because I would fall asleep during the episode and then wake up. And I was like, well, how much did I miss? I'm like, heck with it. And I just let it keep on going, you know. So I got bits and pieces of it. But
yeah,
if it didn't keep my interest and I fell asleep during it, it just, yeah.
Oh yeah, Bob's Burgers is wholesome. That's why we like it. I used to love Family Guy and American Dad when I was young, but then I got really sick of that trope where the family is assholes to each other. I hate that. I don't like that. And what I love about Bob's Burger is everybody is weird, but everybody's super supportive and really about their family. And just embracing their weirdness and embracing who they are and just never putting each other down. And even though they bicker and disagree, it's never the whole family crapping on one person. And I don't like that about the other shows.
And I've never heard of Bob's Burgers.
Oh, you're missing out. It's so funny. They're so weird.
Show, then I take it.
I watch it on Hulu.
Oh, I don't have Hulu.
I think it's free. I think Hulu is free. You just have to watch commercials.
Oh, I'll probably, once I know that the Handmaid's Tale, the season is back, I'm terrible, then I'll get it again, right?
Oh my gosh.
I'm cheap. I'd rather spend it on Tarot decks, okay? That's terrible. Yeah, you didn't know this was going to be confessions, did you? So, do you have a favorite witch movie or series?
Okay, everything is so hard. I'm so indecisive. That's why I have so many things, so I don't have to decide on one. I can be like, oh, I feel like this today. Okay. So, the ones that were really big when I was young and that are super popular, the first witch movie I ever watched was Wizard of Oz. And that really does lay a framework for, I think subconsciously, for as a society, a lot of us are really introduced to magic through the Wizard of Oz. I mean, they used to play it all the time for free on what's that TV station? Remember they used to play with it at least once a year. God, what was the TV
was it? Or was it TBS?
Oh, yeah, maybe it was TBS. So Wizard of Oz, of course, I love the Wizard of Oz. Hocus Pocus, we watched it as a family, and it's really sassy when you are older, and of the craft and practical magic. Of course, Harry Potter, but I didn't like the actual movies. I loved the movies. I know. It's such an unpopular opinion, but the books were so much better.
The books were much better, but I liked the movies too. I thought they did a good job with them.
They did a fairly good job, yeah. It's just I'm one of those people that I must watch the movie first if I'm gonna like the movie, if that makes any sense, with very few exceptions. I like Sleepy Hollow. That was a really good one. And Merlin. I love Merlin. Merlin was one of the first movies in my whole life that had such a happy ending that I cried. It was, to this day, it's one of my very favorite endings of any movie. I think the only other one that comes close is 50 First Dates.
I don't think I've seen a movie named Merlin. I think I've seen
Sam Neill is Merlin. It's great.
Yes.
Carter as Morgan Le Fay.
I know which one you're talking about. The first one I seen was Excalibur, which
I didn't like it that much.
Oh, well,
I like it, but I'm
older than you are. I think that was the first one that I've seen in any of that.
I've seen it. Yeah, Merlin. Have you seen the one with Sam Neill?
I have. I just forgot. And then you said Sam Neill.
The ending, perfect. The best ending ever. I love it.
Just a long time though.
So wonderful. That, yeah,
See that
those
one.
so those are the movies or which series I watch. I don't really. I also watched American Horror Story Coven, and I kind of liked it, but it pissed me off. I love that swamp witch, and they killed her. I didn't like that at all. No, she was
Yeah.
great. She was innocent, and she was good, and she got not a fair deal.
Did you watch it after that though?
You know what? I was pregnant when Freak Show came out, and that one was all about exploitation, and it just really did not sit well with me. When I was pregnant, I was super sensitive, and just like my heart would get really I would get depressed about bad things happening to people in the show, like the little freak guy who eat the chicken eggs. I did not. That
I
was
didn't
like
watch Freak Show. I didn't watch that season. I could not get into it.
no,
But
bad.
after that, they brought her back.
They did.
Yeah. You're talking about the one that loves Stevie Nicks, right?
Yep. And she
Yeah.
had the magic mud to bring people back to life.
Yes.
Yeah.
They did end up bringing her back.
Oh, good. And I love, oh my God, American Horror Story, the second one with the Angel of Death, the Asylum. That was, I love the first 3 seasons were great. The
Yeah.
second one was the high point for me, though. I love that actress, Frances. Isn't that her name? Or was that her name in the show? The actress, she plays in the first one, she played the maid. In the second one, she played the Angel of Death. And then
redhead?
Yeah. And then the third one, she was the crazy redhead with that they burned at the stake. I like her a lot. She's amazing. And Jessica Lange, just perfect. She's perfect. And I did love the third one with Kathy Bates, and she's watching Obama's inauguration, and she's just crying. So funny to me. It's hilarious. But that's probably it for shows. I can't think of anything else. I know a lot of people like Sabrina or Motherland or other stuff like that. I just haven't watched them.
I didn't know Motherland was like witchy.
Isn't that what that show is called? Where all the Salem witches are like an army or something?
I didn't know that's what that was.
Is that a thing? I guess the comments.
I know there was Salem. There's a show called Salem, but I didn't know Motherland was that.
I thought it was Mother something. I'm not sure.
It could be. I mean, if that's the case, then now I want to see it.
Yeah, I have cable. So all I have is the Netflix and the Hulu. And so a lot of things and I have Disney Plus. A lot of things I just hear from other people. So older stuff I remember because I watched a lot more TV when I was younger.
Yes, it is a thing. Okay, that has to do with like Salem summer. I mean, I've heard of the show before. I just didn't know that's what it was. I like the Discovery of Witches too. Did you see that?
No.
That was on I don't remember. It's Stardust or it might be Fort Motherland or Fort Salem, I think it's actually called, is what Summer said.
Oh, maybe.
I don't
Motherland,
know.
Fort Salem, that's what it's called.
Motherland, Fort Salem. Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to have to check that out when I get Hulu again then.
I mean, if you guys have good shows that you've watched, I'm interested. That's one of my favorite things is different representations of magic and witchcraft and pop culture. And something that I've been noticing a lot, I get so excited. I'm sorry. Ancestor worship and ancestor empowerment has been really in a lot more movies and shows that I guess maybe I'm just noticing because I'm into that now. But I have noticed just of course Coco, right? But also like Mulan, her ancestors, that was really a lot of the show of the movie. It was very important. What is this movie I watched recently? The last Star Wars, where she channels the power of every.
Oh yeah.
That's ancestor. Ancestors are not your bloodline. It's also like the witches or the Jedi or whoever who came before you. That was like an intensely moving for me. Moana, when her grandmother comes to her and all of her ancestors are wayfarers and they they give her the courage to go back and fight, or well, not really fight, but confront Tekka. Like I've noticed it a lot. It's really awesome.
My sister loves, I mean, she says that she's like a Jedi. So I love that. Yes,
I like it a lot too.
Yeah.
My husband didn't like the last one at all, but
oh, I loved it, but it was bittersweet.
It was bittersweet, yeah. But I did like it a lot. But just think about how much ancestor stuff comes up in that. Like his father coming to him and they got a chance to redo that last interaction properly. That was like, that really touched me. But I do like, that happens in Aberson too, where all of the Abersons before her come and help her, give her strength. But I really feel like that is a trope that's coming back, is like being empowered by those who came before you. It was also in Harry Potter, because think about like the spirits of those who Voldemort had killed coming back and just like enveloping him and giving him the strength to be like, to escape the first time. But then when the dead come to him, you know, when I open at the close and he finds the stone. Oh, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank, the name of the stone, but and then his
Sorcerer's Stone, you mean? Or the Philosopher's Stone? The Horcrux or
No, the one of the hollows. And he's with the Marauders and he goes to meet to confront Voldemort in the forest. It's in the thing that's hidden in the snitch.
One of the three.
So the invisibility cloak, the Elder Wand,
right,
and the Resurrection Stone. Thank you, Galetta.
Resurrection Stone. Yes.
I know. I've read that like a million times since I was a kid. I feel like that empowerment from your beloved dead is really all over popular culture. We just don't really acknowledge it as that. And I really like seeing that. And I always journal about it in my Book of Shadows, but it's really a thing for me.
That's cool. Summer says she likes Hallmark, The Good Witch. Or not. She said that's on Netflix. Do you watch that one? I've seen it, but I haven't really watched that one.
I haven't watched that one.
And Liberius says that it's about the story of girls being trained to be witches. And that's Fort Motherland or Motherland Fort. Yeah.
That sounds about right, Liberius. That sounds correct. I haven't seen it. I have to think of a couple more examples, but as they come to me, I know that's kind of like sideways, but I do feel like something we don't value or appreciate enough when we talk about like resources for your witchcraft and your magic is popular culture, because people are kind of shy away from that, but it really does shape the way that we see ourselves and the way that we see witches and the way that we see magic and what's possible. So I think that it is really valuable, and a lot of us incorporate it into our practice, whether subconsciously or not. But I think it's something I wish we talked more about.
You know, I will say, and I brought this up a while back, I had watched a video, and I think you actually commented on it, and it was about Halloween, around Halloween, saying, what is Halloween, like the new Christmas, and all these like fake witches.
I know, I hate that.
Fake witches.
I hate that.
But see, I don't see where it's an issue with all these stores having Halloween stuff and a lot of people, you know, being more exposed to like witchcraft stuff, because I think it like helps to break barriers.
Exactly. I agree with you, Rachele. Magic and witchcraft and Halloween, especially things like Halloween, those belong to everybody. Anybody can be a witch. Anybody can do magic. There's no club. You don't have to be approved of by anybody. It belongs to everybody. Magic is a human birthright. All humans do it in one way or another. We call the intentional manifestation of our reality witchcraft. But other religions call it something different, and they're still doing the same thing in their own way. So I hate that idea. Yeah. It's just a different version of Mean Girls. I hate that so much. Like, you're a special person. You don't have to make other people less special to be special. And I think it kind of comes down to like, I'm doing this thing because before it was cool. It's like, okay, hipster witchcraft, like who cares? Whether you've done it for a day or 40 years, it's everybody's. You should be happy. More people makes more light and understanding and
Exactly.
understanding. Like, I love that. I remember your VR to that, and I did comment on it because it blew my mind. Halloween is for everybody.
Yeah. And if somebody comes to, I mean, even like in Christianity, if somebody, whatever it would influence them to come into God, I don't see what difference it makes.
Yeah.
It's just like converting another one, you know?
Exactly. And I see the parallels in everything. I just feel like we want, I don't know, there's a difference between people like us who say, I've discovered this awesome thing. Look, you can do it too. Let's do it together. Let's learn about this. Yeah. And other people are like, I had discovered this awesome thing, so I have to kind of like
keep it to myself.
And love and knowledge are the only thing that get better with more people sharing it. So like, it's not pie. You're not going to run out by sharing it. It just multiplies by sharing it.
Exactly. It's a mentality of having less versus having more, I think.
Yeah. But that just stifles your magic.
Yeah, I agree. Have a good night. Be safe, Summer.
Night, I'm sorry, Rachele, I'm getting off topic.
Don't worry about it. We're on good time.
Okay.
I've had these where they go 2 hours. Okay, we're doing good. We're doing really good. So do you prefer coffee or tea?
Tea. I like coffee, but I really don't like coffee. I like candy coffee. I like my milkshake with coffee flavoring, but that's not really coffee. So I think I do like sweet tea, and I like herbal tea, and I'm liking it more since I went to China, and they have really good tea. Different types of tea. I especially love ginger tea. Wow, that was something I really started loving a lot since then. So yes, tea.
Okay, love the ginger tea. Oh, it's so yummy.
Yeah, ginger tea is good.
That's actually what I'm drinking. Lemon and ginger. Love it. It's so good for you. So is there a time period other than now that you feel really drawn to?
No. I used to like, because I love romance novels, especially historical romance novels. It's like my McDonald's, right? But I don't want to live any other time. I feel like as far as my rights, my freedoms go, this is the best that we've ever been, and I'm not going back.
Oh, and trust me, that's not what I want either.
Yeah.
I'm thinking in general, like, is there like an aesthetic, or like anything like that you have felt drawn to over the years, like dreams that have been in certain things, or like in the things that you like to collect? Is there a certain aesthetic from a different time period? Even those romances.
Yeah, probably the 1850s, I guess. And not like, I don't know. I'd like to be a wealthy person in like Alaska or California during the gold rush, like with a big, beautiful, like solid, sturdy log house and like rugs and fire, and just like I dig that aesthetic a lot.
Pioneering days, kind of like that, like pioneering days.
Maybe pioneering. I don't know. I don't like socially any of it. I love the dresses from like that period too, and I used to love ancient Egypt when I was a kid. Oh my God, I loved it so much. When I was like a baby witch, that was like my thing. I loved it so much. I grew out of it. I'm not super into it. And if I have had a past life dream, it was very real. But I was getting killed in the Middle Ages. I was getting the guillotine, and I had this vibrant red medieval crushed velvet dress, and my hair was down, and this angry mom, like. It was like, and I've I've only had one other dream now that I think about it that felt so real. And the other one was a lucid dream. So I think this was like a past life regression or an astral travel because it was so like a different color dream. It looked like real life, but a horror story real life. I don't know, like a filter. It was nothing like I've ever experienced since. And I know that at one point I lived I lived in that time. Like,
yeah, I would never want to go back and live in any other time either when you think about all of the crap that they went through, right? How hard life really was. But to actually experience it, maybe from a bird's eye view or being a fly on the wall to actually see how things really happened.
I am interested. Yeah, I don't know. I like that. I'm curious.
Yeah.
I just never really thought about it before your question. And then I thought about your question and I was like, I don't know.
So if you could have a deep conversation with anyone during any time period, who would it be and why?
Okay, I know this is going to sound really corny, but Jesus or Lao Tzu? Probably Jesus. But I also really like Lao Tzu. I don't know.
Lao Tzu. Remind me who Lao Tzu is.
He's an ancient Chinese philosopher. So a couple things. He says, my favorite quote in the whole world, loving someone deeply gives you strength, but being deeply loved gives you courage. And a bowl is most useful when it's empty.
I love that. That's right.
He's really smart. He's really smart. I like him a lot. And of course, Jesus, I would love to be like, tell me, like, how can I be a better person? Just lay it out for me. I know it sounds so cliche, but I really, I would love to hear him in person without the filter of other people, because I bet he was just so radical and wild, just like so far beyond what they could understand that I feel like even the Bible is probably tamed down to be acceptable for audiences. I don't know. He was like a cowboy.
And I definitely think he was pagan. I think he was like a hippie pagan.
Yes.
That could perform like miracles, you know.
Yes. So wild.
Yeah.
Wow. I'd love to talk to him.
That was like one of my answers too, was Jesus. Yeah. Definitely.
And so fearless, man. Just he was, if anything, I think you can say he was absolutely authentically living his truth. And he wasn't saying sorry about it to any fucking buddy. Excuse my French.
Yeah, exactly. Hi, Trish.
Hi, Trish.
Hi, Galatus. I've seen you in here. I'm sorry.
Hi, Leanne, Uncle Patrick.
So yeah, another form of gatekeeping. Exactly. The witch aesthetics on Halloween. Absolutely.
And it'll come back. You just wait and see, Rachele. That's all will come back. It comes back like cyclically. Somebody's going to say something ridiculous and rude and rile us all up, and we're going to be like, rabble, 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 rabble.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So if you could go to any event in history, what would it be and why?
I know. It's the same. I want to go to the Sermon on the Mount.
Okay.
And okay, so here's my thinking. Number one, I would love to hear it in real life. And number two, I want to so there's been millions, if not billions of people since then who claim to really embrace this message, right? But I want to see people that heard it with their own ears reacting to something that must have been so radically wild and different. Like, I cannot imagine the concept of that in real life, in real time, somebody saying that. Just wild. And it's probably my most deeply treasured belief is, for whosoever you treat the least of your brothers is how you would treat me, right? And so I want to know, were people believing in that? Were they really into it? What did it sound like in real life? Did the message sound just like that? Was it toned down? Was it I don't know. I'm very curious about that. Because everybody else, I thought of politicians and queens and other famous people, but it's just like I said, the only person I could think of that has been so authentic and upfront and unapologetic and sacrifice everything to be that way is Jesus. But I think about like, because even like, oh, like, you know, Cleopatra, which is great, but I feel like she would be arrogant. Or even like the founding fathers, I feel like they probably had a lot of flaws too. So there are things that I mean, I'm very curious about historically, like how they actually went down, but there's not people that I would actually wish to know.
Yeah.
Aside from that. Because even like
They all
Gandhi
had agendas.
problems.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
They all had agendas.
Agendas, exactly. Like, and I'm sure, I mean, I guess it's probably just because I'm behind that agenda, like let people love each other and be, you don't need church so much, and just like be authentic, be good, be real, love each other. Like that really resonates deeply with me. And other people have done it since, but I don't think they've done it as well. I don't know. I feel like I would get hung up on knowing what I know about most historical figures, right?
Yeah. He's definitely at the top of my list.
Yeah, it's corny. People are just like, oh God.
Not funny to me. I mean, how many people in the world believe in Christianity?
A lot.
There's a reason,
Yeah.
you know?
I'm also curious about Buddha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm more curious about the very first.
Yes.
Know?
Oh, yeah. I'm talking about like when the 12 zodiac animals were chosen by Buddha. That would be really awesome if it really happened. I mean, that would be cool too. But yes, actual original Buddha sitting under his tree, I would love to be like, tell me some like wisdom.
But you know what? Buddha's kind of like Jesus.
Yeah.
And even Odin is kind of like Jesus. They all did self-sacrifice in order for enlightenment, right?
Yeah.
Or I mean, because Odin gave his eye in order to have like the runes, and it was like several days that he was like. So I see all of them as like the Hanged Man in the tarot, all of them, the self-sacrifice for like enlightenment or growth, not just for themselves but for others.
Yeah.
She's my favorite. Hi, Catastrophic. If I said that wrong, my apologies.
I think Jesus was the first witch who said that. Let me see. Yes, Catastrophic. He definitely was more pagan than they give him credit for.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Well, I love
a member of the Essene. And the Essene, they had like their own commune, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love Lilith. Catastrophic.
I don't know a whole lot about Lilith.
And well, legend goes that she was Adam's first wife and she wanted to be his equal, and they were like, no, 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 no.
Right. What do you guys think? You said it right. Yeah. Yeah, I think Lilith, I would have been just as pissed as she was. Okay.
I know. If we're starting with society, why do we gotta start it like that?
You know what's terrible is I was raised Christian and I never knew about Lilith until after I was pretty much, for the most part, out of Christianity. It's not something that I learned through the church.
They don't tell you that. And, you know, King Solomon was a sorcerer. He did powerful magic. He was the most powerful magician in his time. And they completely cut that out of the Bible because magic is bad. But it's not really. It's like in the Bible. Mm-hmm. It's not in the Bible. It's in the Torah or the books, the Hebrew, the Judaism books.
Right. The first 5 books of the Old Testament.
Mm-hmm.
Which I believe is the Torah.
I love King Solomon.
You know, the thing about King Solomon, he, I believe, married the Queen of Sheba, right? And like practiced, who served like other gods. And he was supposed to be depicted as the most wise of all men. And he was given this symbol in order to control the demons in order to help build his temple, right? Or do his bidding. But he was like beloved and from the line of David and the same line as Jesus Christ, right?
Yeah. I do. I love Mary Magdalene. She gets the short end of the stick.
Yeah. So anyways, do you have a website?
Yes. It's not ready yet. But it will be soon. And it's just gonna be Hound Dog Hollow.
And what kind of stuff are you going to have on that website?
A lot of the stuff that I already talk about in my channel. So like blog stuff and magic stuff and magical living and astrology, stuff like that. As it comes out, I'll tell you more.
Okay, sounds good.
It's still evolving.
All right. There's a lot of other ways that you can find Branddy, though. She does have Instagram. She has Pinterest. She has a Facebook page and a Facebook group, and as well as her channel, of course. And those are all down below in the description. What's that? Better put a picture of Elvis on the site. I just came out of work. So excited to be here. The books that aren't in the Bible. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And so are the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yes, exactly. Divination. Yes. Exactly. Liberius. Yeah. So that's why, I mean, it does go back to magic is like.
Yes.
It's everybody's.
Yeah. Get your website up soon.
Oh, thank you. I'm working on it. But you guys will be the first to know.
Okay, sounds good. So how long have you been on YouTube, honey?
So I think I did my first video in October of 2018. I think we started within a month of each other.
Yeah, definitely.
You were
like a very good supporter. Seriously.
Yeah, thanks. I was gonna say you were one of my first friends.
Well, yeah, I definitely feel like friends, but I mean, as far as like subscribers and stuff like that, and I don't mean just a subscriber, but I mean somebody that always came to my videos and watched, and vice versa. We were always there when we had like 10 subscribers. Okay, like inching up one by one. You know?
I know. It's been nice though. I feel like I've made a lot of friends and a lot of connections, and I've learned so much. So for every irritating thing, it's been way more good things, and I mean, really growth things. I really, even the bad things, really help define like, oh, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be like that. Those are things that are not just or not correct or whatever. So it's been really helpful. It's been really helpful.
So what is the direction that you envision for your channel?
I will not be stopping unboxing, so don't worry about that. As a matter of fact, I did a poll, I think last week or the week before, asking what content people wanted to see, and they said they wanted more unboxing. So I've got new boxes coming in the next couple months. Ooh, I know. Oh, so I'm trying to keep that content. I like that too. But I'm also trying to do more educational stuff, and something I really feel like we need and that I can help you do because of my skill set is I feel like we have this thing where we wish we practiced more. We wish we had more time to practice. We wish we had more things to practice with. We wish we were better skilled. We wish that we were all these things. And I feel like just do the thing anyway. Even if you're not skilled, even if you only have a little bit of time, even if you feel like an idiot, even if it doesn't look like Instagram witches or whoever it is you're following, just do it anyway. You're going to learn something. You're going to grow. And magic is not something that has to look perfect. Magic has to be sincere. And that sincerity and authenticity will help you grow, and will help you learn and will help enrich your life. So one of the things, especially the Get Ready With Me and the educational stuff, I'm just advocating, like, it doesn't have to be a big deal. It doesn't have to be a big, huge ritual. It can be something simple like planting a plant and really thinking about what it is that you want to grow in your life while you do it, or making a wish on a dandelion head and really thinking about like a sincere intention that you want to put out into the universe to have manifest to you. It's just because people say, oh, how do you make time for this? Or how do you use all of this or whatever? And it's just like, I don't think of it as making time. I know that sounds really cliche. I think of it as just living, as trying to be present in my everyday life. And I want to help other people find ways that work for them to have magic present in their everyday life, because everyday life is magical. And we've talked about this before. Everyday life is fleeting. You only get so many Halloweens. You only get so many times that you're going to pick up your kid. I mean, eventually they get too big for that. You only get so many times where your dog sleeps in bed with you because eventually they'll die. Like, everything in life is fleeting. And if you're always worrying about a better time or a better opportunity or a better moment, or I'm going to do this someday, or when I'm thinner, when I'm better, when I have more money, I'm going to do this, you're just letting your life go by without you. Just do it now. Anything worth doing well is worth doing shitty, because at least you did it, right?
Absolutely.
Well, but if you can't do it well, at least do it.
I agree.
I'm sorry. That was
dip your toe in, get started, start somewhere.
Just do something. Like, even if it's just reading an article, even if it's just lighting a candle, even if it's just noticing the sunrise or your flowers have bloomed, do something that makes you feel present and alive and in awe of your life, of nature. I mean, look at the moon. How can you feel anything but like, just like, wow, look at her. She's so beautiful.
I love that. I mean, absolutely. You got to be a participant in your own life, right? So, find the magic in everything.
I do. That's my main message. Like, how can we do that? How can we, as people, regardless of what our religion, our creed, our background, our time, our money, anything, how can we, like, magic is everybody's birthright. So how can we access that and channel it and pull some of that wonderment and joy and gratitude, like, sincerely into our lives, however it looks like for you. So, like, maybe, I don't know, what makes you really happy? What's a little thing that makes you really happy? Just a small thing, Rachele.
Oh, really? Me? Hidden knowledge, honey. Finding out something new that I didn't know that maybe somebody didn't want me to know. And then I find out. That's like, I'm a truth seeker. I'm a knowledge seeker. But then finding that out, or, spending time with my family. I mean, I'm the kind of person that, this is something my mom taught me a long time ago. If you're the kind of person that you're always looking around the corner for the next best thing, you're going to always be looking around the corner for the next best thing.
Exactly that. Exactly.
So be very appreciative of what you have, because it can be gone tomorrow. It can be gone later on tonight, exactly. And make mental snapshots of all of those things and be in the now and appreciate it. I've talked about this before, also driving. How many times have you driven the same path that you drove every day back and forth to work, and you get there almost like a robot, like you did not even remember it?
Exactly.
And after I read A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle umpteen years ago, I recognized that I did that every stinking day. After that, I started being in the now, and I would start recognizing a tree that was blooming, birds, certain kind of birds, and people congregating, and just looking at life and looking at everything in general and appreciating it, looking at how beautiful the sky is and the earth. And so, yeah, appreciate.
It made me think of, when you say finding hidden knowledge, it makes me think of, like, the great mysteries that we each have to unravel. They're there for all of us. Like, and it's how we engage with whatever the meaning of our life and life in general is. And I really appreciate that because number one, it looks different for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, there's so much knowledge out there that we don't have access to. And we never will, because there's more knowledge than any one person can ever find in their whole lifetime. To add to it that other people are purposely hiding knowledge from different groups. So I guess that's part of the reason why it's so frustrating in our community that you wouldn't share your knowledge. But I don't want to feel like my life's going by without me.
Yeah.
I want to feel like that's the best part about nature and life and magic is really like appreciating and being present for everything that, I mean, it's just so bountiful. Everything is giving. It's really cool. I don't mean to be a soapbox about it.
I do want to address something. Joshua Knight asks, what are your opinion? And I believe I've seen it a couple of times past now in the witchcraft community, especially with newer witches trying to fit in, about elitism. And we already kind of touched on that.
I know. I think you know, Joshua. If you watch my channel, you know.
Yeah,
but
I don't agree with that.
So this is one of the you go first.
I just think that just like anything, any kind of religion, any kind of career, people just get too much in their ego and or they've been doing something for 30 years and doing it a certain way, and they were taught a certain way, and this is how you're supposed to do it. And then somebody new comes in and maybe ruffles a few feathers because they're doing it a different way. No, that's not the way I was taught, or that's not what I believe. Too bad. Let people be who they're going to be. That doesn't mean that they're any less. I think let the teacher, and the student switch, because I mean, I say all the time, I learn from my kids all the time, but I know that there's people that say, my kids can't teach me anything. I'm older. I've lived longer. I'm wiser. I've earned all these grades and stuff like that. My kids teach me all the time. You just got to be open.
Yeah. I love that, Rachele. Yes, I do. I feel like a truly wise person knows how little they actually know, right? Because there's the pie slice, that's stuff we know. There's a slightly larger pie slice of things that we know that we don't know. And then there's this massive piece of the pie that we don't even know that we don't know. It's like that Samuel L. Jackson joke. There's known knowns and there's known unknowns, but then there's unknown unknowns. Stuff that we don't know that we don't know. And it's true. And going back to it, Joshua, part of the problem that I see, Rachele, and you can speak to this or not, is that when these movements came about, they really kind of were hybrid movements with different things. So a lot of people felt like witchcraft was very feminine and female empowering. And I feel like some of the stuff with that kind of stays. So I feel like, yes, if you are not a specific type of woman, a cisgendered, woman that kind of fits into this niche, some people you don't fit that aesthetic of the witch, right? When we think of witches, we have a very, at least in the beginning, we have a very specific aesthetic of what we think that is, right? But I feel like, number one, I'm going to say this till I'm sick in the head. Magic is for everybody. And I feel like witchcraft is something that really helped some people feel like in charge of being marginalized, right? So like they were outcast or they didn't quite fit in, and witchcraft was somewhere where they could fit in, they could make rules, and they could be part of this microcosm that was super important to them. And then adding other people challenges their place in the microcosm, and so they really don't like that. But what it really comes down to is more is better. More knowledge, more sharing, more voices. That's where it really comes down to intersectionality in different ideas from, people who are female identified, male identified, identify a different way, identified, however they are, whatever culture, gender, all of these different voices have been kind of shut out of the witchcraft community because we're not doing it right. But what you fail to realize, or what some of these witches fail to realize, is witchcraft is not just like Celtic or Gardenian or whatever. Witchcraft is Native American, witchcraft is African, witchcraft is Chinese, witchcraft is South American. Everybody on the planet since the beginning of time has been doing witchcraft. And all of those things can come together to be something great if we would stop being assholes about what we think that witchcraft is.
Yeah. Yeah, and stop judging, period. Just stop judging and thinking that your way is the only way. Like I said earlier, there's my truth, there's your truth, there's that person's truth and that person's truth. It doesn't mean that they're not all right.
Exactly. Exactly that, Rachele. Because life is perception. And it works for you and against you. If you perceive that your life sucks, and this is something my husband and I say all the time. If your life sucks, it's because you suck. And we don't mean that it's just like you're at fault for your life sucking. But if you think always, I'm unlucky, this bad thing is going to happen to me, I can never win. Those are thoughts that you plant your future by thinking those thoughts. And granted, there are people who are certainly disadvantaged, but the people who have hope and efficacy, a belief that they can do better for themselves, they do better in life because they have that positive thinking that attracts positive things. They don't self-sabotage on accident thinking negative things. And I feel like that also plays into the gatekeeping, right?
Yeah.
They want to protect witchcraft and they're accidentally making it not a good community.
Absolutely. I mean, you put that very, very well. I just think that it's threatened. They think that their training and everything that they've worked for is maybe somehow less valid if somebody else new comes in with a new perspective, and maybe it's completely against what they thought, but
yeah. Oh, Joshua, I love you. Gatekeeping is toxic, but I feel like I can speak for a lot of people here in this community. I can speak for myself. Rachele, you speak for yourself, but we are welcoming. I want to hear your different thoughts. I want to hear if you don't agree with me and why. And then we can have a conversation. What I don't want to hear is you're wrong, because I'm just going to be like, bye.
Exactly.
I do want to have this conversation because maybe I'm going to learn something and maybe you're going to learn something and maybe we'll be better people because of it. But I don't ever want my channel to be a place where anybody's put down, anybody is shut out, or anybody feels like what they have to contribute to the conversation is invaluable. Because just by being you and the unique conglomeration of every trait and life experience that makes you have something valuable to give, because nobody in the world is like you. That's and whatever it is that you have to say is valuable.
They think people are only doing it for aesthetics when really people might just have a different idea of their own practice. And that's what I've said before. I'm not going to say that there's not people out there that are not doing it for aesthetic purposes and want to be part of the trend. But how do you know what is going to get somebody after the fact really interested in it, where they actually start practicing and empowering themselves in the process? We don't know, but for somebody to even look at it and say that another person is only doing it for aesthetics, how can you make that judgment call? All that is just making a judgment call when you don't know what's in their mind. You don't know what they do behind closed doors, and it's none of your damn business.
Exactly. And so if they just want to do the aesthetic, maybe they'll find something they really deeply connect with, and maybe they won't. But even then, the visibility and the openness and the acceptance of witchcraft is a good thing for everybody.
Yeah, I think so. It helps break down barriers so that people are not so fear-stricken when they hear these stories of this happening, because you can have good publicity and you can have bad publicity.
Yes.
Why do I think that Christianity has done so well? Because we had a good publicist. I've said this before, so.
But it's not just that, Rachele. Just think about how many we eat our young, and nurses do that too. And so nurses stop doing that shit. But we tend to, people who have innocent questions or lacks of understandings or different perspectives, and they just want to learn and they want to grow and they want to feel supported in their thing. We really don't do them a good turn by by denigrating them, by mocking them, by saying they're less than. A person who just started witchcraft 2 days ago is no better of a witch than I am after 20 years. There's no grade, there's no score. I mean, if you feel good and confident and powerful in yourself and your magic, then you are awesome, and that's great. But most of us, I mean, even people who have been in it forever, since they were young, most of us feel like there's always something we can learn. There's always something we could do better. We're always growing. And it's not always picture perfect. And I feel like when we only show the best parts, it's a disservice to everybody. Which is kind of why I don't really like to edit my videos. Also, I'm lazy, but I don't really like to edit my videos because, yes, my son comes in when I'm doing spells and I'm like, okay, I'm trying to do a new moon reading. Can mommy just think about this thing that's this message really quick? And that's life, because I'd rather be doing it with my little 5-year-old being like, what's this mean? What's this mean? What's this mean? Than not.
I will say this though, when you get somebody that's constantly asking questions like, I don't know anything about this, or you know, like you and I are having a conversation and I bring up a topic like a cauldron and somebody says, well, I don't know what a cauldron is. Listen, if you're on the internet
exactly
watching this, you've got Google, type in, what is a cauldron? Do some research. You know, there's so much information out there. But then if you have more questions about, you know, how do you personally use a cauldron?
Yeah.
You know, that's different. But the basics, I mean, there's so much information out there that you can access easily for free. There's no reason why you can't learn if that's truly what you want to do.
Exactly. And that's, I always take that question as if they're asking me specifically what I'm going to do with it. And I always say, I'm going to do this, but you know, you might use it differently. And, you know, I always like to put in my get ready with me and the other videos that I'm talking about. Like, this is where I got my information from. You might want to find different sources. And here are some examples, because we're all different people. And the way that somebody, like, I mean, I did algebra 5 times before one French guy with really bad armpit BO said algebra in a way that clicked in my brain, and I got an A. So like, maybe you have to hear, right? Yeah. Oh my God, he did not wear any, and it was summer too, so it was just like, and he didn't care. He didn't think it was an issue, and you go. But I'm just, it's the same thing with all knowledge. It has to be presented in the way that it fits in somewhere in your brain, and that's how listening to other witches, connecting, and just taking what you need and letting the rest of it go is really important skill that we should hone in on. But I really love that we can have these conversations, and I love watching other people's channels to learn, like, oh, okay, they're doing that. I hadn't thought of that. I really like that idea a lot. Or, you know, that's not how I do it. And maybe I'll make a video too to show like my perspective.
That's why we are doing the Witchy Wisdom Wednesdays, because
I like
those, all different witches. We're talking about the same topic, but each one of us comes at it from a different perspective because we're all different people. We all have different beliefs. But
and I love that.
We're witches. We're just different. We practice differently. We are going to be doing also probably here in the future, very soon, some live roundtables with topics with all of us. So
like that. And that's, I'm really enjoying this because I want to talk about philosophy in this kind of arena, witch philosophy specifically, or even just greater philosophy, because I feel like it's all interconnected. There's no one segment of life. We're really bad at segmenting things and judging things and putting them into their compartment. But the truth is there's no compartments. Everything bleeds into everything else. Yeah. And I want to do that. It's just like, I feel so sometimes I feel really hindered by my schedule. So I just do the best that I can, and I connect individually or on your channels or through comments. And it's enough. It's enough because I am learning, and I get to see other people doing it too, and I get lots of ideas. But someday when I have more time, I would love to
eventually.
The Richie Roundtable sounds like a dream come true.
Yeah. And I'm not going to say that it's not maybe going to get a little, I mean, we're all going to be respectful, but we might be a little bit loud.
Yeah, that's a good conversation.
Yeah, because many of us, I mean, even in our private chats, we definitely have different ideas of stuff. But that's good because they're all valid. Every single one of ours is valid because that's what we believe. So it might strike somebody as, oh yeah, that's how I feel too. Or I
Yeah.
didn't think about it like that. Now I'm gonna think about it like that. It
Yeah.
expands us.
And it's not always sunshine and rainbows. It's not always like I'm challenging myself lately to take what I don't agree with and challenge myself to be curious and say like, okay, what is not doing it? And that's literally something I got I haven't been calling it that. I got that specific kind of wording and placement from Drew, as she who walks between the worlds. She was placing it, and I really like her content. I like to chat about it. But I am going to say, like, there are times when you're really frustrated and don't agree. And if at all possible, I would encourage you to disagree and find a friend that you really trust and just privately, like, let it out. And then think more about, like, okay, I can go on now. I'm not going to, you don't have to, we don't have to, like, dump our bullshit onto the internet for everybody to see. It's not helpful, really. But it is helpful to let it out to your friends and just say, oh, Rachele, I need you to listen to this, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, oh, I got it out. Because we do have those moments and they're totally healthy to express in the right venue. So I will say, find yourself a witchy friend or somebody who you could just be like, bleh.
Well,
and then regather yourself.
That was one of the discussions that we had in our private chat was, listen, I don't want it to get heated. I don't want anyone to come across as, I definitely don't believe, not that I don't believe in that, but don't be so strongly opposed to somebody else's beliefs that you're not holding space for them because we have viewers and you don't want to discourage somebody else from their own beliefs. You see what I'm saying? So I feel like when you're on a public format, you have to be a bit of, yes, authentic, but you have to be a little bit of a diplomat too. You have to look across the table a little bit and just be as, open as you can.
Yes. And then you can be like, oh, girl, Rachele, please help me.
Behind closed doors.
I know. And that's okay too. That is okay too. It's okay to find your safe friend and just let it out. But then let it go. Smudge that shit away. Let it go off you like water off a duck's back, and then come back to the community ready to re-engage in a helpful, open way.
She said, and a referee. And now in this corner we have.
But there's really no winning. There's no winning.
Right. Yeah. It's just perspective. And hopefully that these prove that to people, that it is all about perspective.
Yeah, of course.
So I have one last question for you, and then I'm just going to open it up for people for a couple more minutes. So what do you wish to gain from your channel going forward?
I feel, okay, so I want to share with people. I want to connect. I feel like, and really when most things, the root of it, most like things that we do, we're really doing for ourselves. So I wanted to connect with people to talk about magic and to talk about these boxes that I was enamored with and to talk about what I was going to do with the things and what are you doing with things and what are you doing in general and how are you learning and what are you learning and what are you using. So I always want my channel to be an exchange of ideas, information, and stuff like that. I always want that. It's good for me. It's good for everybody. I want that. But also, I feel like the spiral, I've talked about this before. So you learn an idea, you get comfortable with an idea, and you learn more skills, you build on the idea. Then you come back to the basics and you refresh it. So you learn it again, but with a deeper understanding because you've done advanced things and now you see how the building blocks fit into the bigger picture. And then the final part of the spiral that you should be doing for eternity is you come back to it again, but you're teaching somebody else. And when you teach somebody information, you really know the information. The information stays with you. So when I share the information about what I've learned and what I'm doing, that information stays with me because it's not, I had to research it. I had to think about it. We had a conversation. Now it's really cemented in me. It's part of me. And that is something I want to share and it's something that deepens my practice and keeps me accountable, and it's something that's good for the world and the community.
I love seeing your passion. It is definitely very obvious. I love seeing that.
Oh, I try. I couldn't be not me if I tried. I'm such a terrible liar.
No, I like that. I like that. It's like when your mom and you go, your mom friends with your kid is getting on your nerves. Yeah.
Yes, because really only your mom will know how you can love somebody so deeply and also want to strangle them.
Right.
And sometimes my son does things that I do, and I'm like, oh my God, why are you like me? Why? Stop it.
I always would say to my kids, I love you best when you're sleeping.
He's such an angel when he's sleeping.
I know.
One of my son, I made him dinner, and it was something he hadn't eaten before. And he goes, Mommy, this is damn delicious. And I said, oh, okay, thank you. But we say bad words now. He goes, actually, Mommy, I say bad words now because you say bad words. And I'm like, what am I going to say to that? I'm in trouble.
It's like those old drug commercials. Where'd you learn to do that? From watching you, Dad.
Except for it's really, really true.
Exactly.
Oh, my husband gives me, we give each other the look all the time.
Yeah. 2 years old is that's rough.
It is rough. Nobody tells you that. 2 and 3 are just awful.
Yeah.
Because they're big enough to hurt themselves all the time. You got to watch them, and they're like, no, I don't need you. You're like, yes, you are a tiny drug person. You need me.
Yes. Oh my gosh. My son was horrid at 2 years old. My daughter was easy, but my son, now my daughter is much harder than my son is.
Oh.
It doesn't get easier. It's just a different kind of hard.
Yes, exactly. Oh, man.
My daughter is grown. I'm glad my kids are grown. Now I just wish they'd get the house.
I know. I remember when my son was 3, and I was like, if you don't stop doing that, I'm going to spank you. He goes, Mama, you know spank me. Now that you said it, I have to. Don't do that to me.
And did he say it with attitude like this? Mommy?
Oh, yeah. You don't spank me. I'm like, okay. It's totally me. My husband, sometimes we look at each other, especially when he's a picky eater or when he just won't shut up. And I'm like, do I talk this much? He's like,
what Trish said? My granddaughter told me today to move my.
I know, that's so funny.
How old is she? How old is she, Trish? I said F you to my hubby once, and my 2-year-old repeated it. I almost swept myself laughing so hard. Oh my gosh, she is 3. Oh my gosh, and she said that at 3 years old.
Oh man, that happened to me, tarot lady, in the car with my mother-in-law. We were driving, and a motorcycle passed between 2 cars right next to my son's window. And without missing a beat, he goes, "Fuck you!" And my mother-in-law was like, "What did you say?" I was like, "That's me. That is so me. I'm sorry."
I'm definitely going to have to unmonetize. Thank you very much.
I'm so sorry. You can curse and monetize. I do, and I get money from it, so don't worry.
Oh. Naughty.
Sorry. I'm so sorry. I should have monitored my language. I'm feeling loose at the end of a work week.
I remember one time there was something that my husband said. I don't remember. It was something curse word, and I repeated after him. And then our daughter, who was like 5 years old, repeated it. And then she started crying because she realized what she had done. We're like, oh my God, we're so sorry. It was our fault. You know, it's terrible. She is nasty. I wonder where she gets it from, Trish. I mean, you are awful sassy.
I know. That's so funny.
I love it.
I love that.
So does anybody have any questions for Brandy before we call it an evening?
The cyber bar, so I know I'm terrible. I'm sorry. I was in the military, and so I can't help it. That's like our language. It never goes away.
Trust me, I have a real bad potty mouth. Real bad.
I'm sorry. I hope you can still monetize.
Will you name a chicken after me? Leanne wants to know if you name your chickens after her.
Sure.
All right. So we want to see Leanne and see how she progresses then. Now I'm scared, you guys. I have a niece who's turning 2 this year. You gotta watch that mouth because they will pick it up. Definitely.
I don't know what my greatest time waster is. Probably computer games. I love them, but I try to avoid them because I can really get into like Civ and like spend a whole weekend and just be like, where am I?
It's too easy. I started playing The Sims again.
Oh, I love The Sims. I love it so much.
The is it Making Magic or Magic?
Oh, I love it.
Or whatever. Oh my gosh. And of course I do the cheat codes. Do you do the cheat codes? I do. I do.
Life hacks. What kind of advice you want to give? Finding a husband. I mean, I found my husband on Craigslist. So there's that. And that's a story I'll tell you guys at some point.
Okay, yeah, we definitely want a video on that.
I know. It's not like sorted. I just I put an ad up and he answered. And that was it. I'll probably talk about, I mean, I guess if you want to know, I just, I had just moved to a new air base from overseas and I didn't have any friends. And I put an ad up saying like, I don't have any friends. And he was like, okay. And we went to see a movie. It was a terrible movie. And we went to eat dinner and it was a terrible dinner. And he asked me to go home with him and I never left.
Dang!
And it's been 12 years. I know. Wow. So I broke all the rules. Don't go home on the first date, all of that stuff. I did it and it worked out great.
What makes you a powerful witch?
Confidence, authentically living, and I feel like ancestor work has really like intensified my magic because I know that there are thousands of spirits rooting for us to succeed, and you have that too. We all have that. There are thousands of your ancestors, like they are invested in your success and they will give you strength and courage and power and understanding and all of these things if you just connect. Like they want to connect with you. They want the line to succeed. They want the line to be healed. Like that really helps. But also just like I'm in a really supportive relationship. I try to stay positive. That helps a lot too. Confidence, time, and experience, and ancestors. I don't know.
Right on.
I think I missed a question. What is the most radial sport you have ever tried? What's a radial sport?
What is your greatest? Oh, you forgot. What is the most radial sport you ever tried? I don't know.
Oh, Latino stereotypes. I don't know. There's so many.
Yeah, she is like the queen of questions. I swear. It's like
I love it.
The whole time. That way she can just bam, bam, bam.
Are too many to quantify. And honestly, I can't really. I'm trying to think of one that's not true for me because I am a crazy Puerto Rican. You could ask my husband, but I don't know. Like I'd have to think on that, Leanne. I'll come back to it. I don't know. Is there any other question? I met my hubby at a bar. Trish, that's cool.
My husband, I was set up on a blind date with him.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
It worked out. Radical. I don't like sports. I don't like sports. It's not my favorite. So, and I don't have any cool life hacks. Everything I know, I'm trying to share with you. So if I think it's cool or valuable, I'll put it on my channel. And what was another? Did I have another question, Rachele? Oh, Latino stereotypes. I don't know. We're not all Mexican.
So Animal Crossing. My daughter plays that.
Any advice for beginner witches? I would say find out what interests you and dive into it. I really don't think that you have to learn any way that means anything for anybody else. I think you find what you're interested in, and it'll naturally build into other things because all these things are connected. And so if you really get into tarot, you might notice that there's like symbols, colors, elements, and you might branch out from there. Or you might find an oracle deck and just really like, oh man, I love these Spirits of the Loon cards. Let me learn more about the moon phases and the moon cycles, and then you get into all this other stuff. I feel like whatever it is that you're passionate about, start learning about it. And maybe that means buying a beautiful baby witch book, which I still love and buy, and just reading it and being like, oh, this is really interesting. I'm going to dive into that. Whatever it is, there's no order, there's no preference, there's nothing that you have to do special. Just find what interests you and go with it.
She says, I know you don't like sports. That's why I wanted to know if you had a bad tennis accident which made you stop playing them. LOL.
I've never been good at sports. I am clumsy and awkward. I mean, literally, I got made fun of for like the rest of my military career when I was like 19, and I fell down into a ravine from a sitting position, and they're like, how do you fall from a sitting position? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm in the bottom of this ravine with a broken ankle. Can you please just get me out? So I've always been awkward. You can visit any country you haven't been to. Where would you go? I want to go to Thailand, Egypt, all of South America. I want to travel everywhere. I love travel. Asia is my favorite right now, but South America, Africa, Europe, I want to go everywhere. I want to step on every continent.
So what tarot cards represent you?
The ones with bad decisions. You know what? What I like about tarot, it's just like a story of the progression of, it's a progress story, right? And so sometimes you're the fool and you're just starting something so awesome and exciting, and sometimes you're the hangman and you're stuck, in this place and you've got to work your way out. Or sometimes, you're in the death part and you're transforming from something old, you're releasing it and you're starting something new. It just depends on what day it is. You're always something different. And so a lot of times I feel like the high priestess, but sometimes I feel like the devil. Like I give in to temptation too much, and sometimes I feel like the Hierophant, and sometimes I feel like the Empress, and sometimes I feel like the Lovers. It just depends on the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Still getting the eyes in your boxes, Brandy? For a while, seemed like every box you opened, I know they creep you out.
It's not that they creep me out. They creep me out. I think mostly I don't like scrying. Ugh, I hate scrying. I had a really bad experience. But I will someday. It's just I've got to get around that. The eyes are like, they make me think of mal de ojo, so they're not my favorite. But some of them I like. It just depends on how I feel that day. What's the best spell you've done for your kid? I don't know if I can. I don't know. So, I mean, it's kind of ephemeral because there's lots of intention that we put into our kids all the time, and magic is using your intention to manifest reality. So I feel like raising a child is a lot of spiritual alchemy for both of you, right? So I guess that for me, every time I try to be a good mom and be understanding and be patient and really be present for him, that I'm doing my channeling the divine essence of motherhood into this moment between the two of us. But I can't say that I've actually ever cast like a bad anti-bad dream spell. If I'm going to do something like that, I do it for all of us. I don't really focus on my son. I also have a thing about like casting magic on anybody who can't really ask me for it or really engage and say that they want that. And one of the things about religion that I really want to be careful with my son is that I don't feel like it's something that I should force on him, push on him, or influence him with. If he likes that, we do our own thing and he sees it, obviously. And if he likes that, he can totally engage. But I don't want to manipulate him. And that gets really challenging because you're raising your kid, right? So I don't know. It's complicated.
No, I agree with that. You know, letting them find their own spirituality, other than maybe like a protection spell or something like that, but just maybe through like my intentions or like a prayer, which I do believe is spell work myself. But
I don't mind it, but I mean, it just doesn't come up.
yeah, exactly.
Maybe when he's older and he's like, oh, I'm so sad, or I don't have any friends, or I need help with this, that would be a different thing. But I kind of feel like he's not really at the free will point to ask for something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So anything we do for the family. We keep the bedroom safe for the family. We clear the property and protect it for the family. We do blessings for happiness and abundance and prosperity for the family. We do those things for all of us.
Have a good evening, Christopher.
Hi guys. I know I'm dragging on. I'm so sorry, Rachele. I just
okay. And hi, Paula. And what altars do you have up at the moment? Where are they dedicated to?
The only one that's up all the time is the ofrenda, and it's to our ancestors.
She says, I am left-handed. Are you?
No, right? My son's left-handed. Actually, he's ambidextrous.
My son is also ambidextrous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And my son is extremely friggin' intelligent. We used to play these games on the Wii. It was like the mind games where they would ask a bunch of questions all the time.
Yeah.
And he would always kick my butt and my husband's butt, you know. But it's because he's very right hemisphere and left hemisphere.
That's awesome.
That's what they said. It's both.
That is awesome.
Yeah. We should be ending this.
Okay.
It's 11 p.m. for me. I'm old.
It's been really fun.
This is a lot of fun. Thank you, everyone, for coming. This was really great. Branddy, you know I love you, sweetheart. I just think you're wonderful, and I've always loved your channel. So anyone, by any chance, that has never checked out her channel, you're losing out on so much. Go check it out. She does awesome unboxing. She's a great teacher. She's got some awesome collections of stuff. She's got animals running all over the place and making noises all the time.
I love you too, Rachele. It's been really great. Just really quick, Liberia's Ancestral Medicine by Dr. Daniel Four was a life changer. Check it out. It's really good. Basics from like nothing to full-blown healing your ancestral line. It's a great book. But yes, I love you so much. You're so sweet. Thank you so much for having this. This was the best idea. Like, you came up with this most amazing idea, and I found so many channels through this interviews that you do. It's really cool. I love it.
I can't say it was my idea. I'd seen other people do it, but I just wanted to kind of put my own twist on it and try to, help smaller channels and some bigger channels. But it was also a way for me to be able to sit across like the table from somebody that I admire and want to learn more about, and just having a good conversation,
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah. So thank you, everyone. I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of your evening or morning, wherever it's at. So, and thank you. Thank you, Branddy.
Thank you.